Joshua Cribbs turns disaster into a score!
Ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being.
Washed it down with 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey, a margarita, and a Bloody Mary. And I said, Stone Cold, why have one when you can have them both?
Swung out and drilled! Deep right center! Away back! Gone for Tony!
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up.
It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton?
Awful.
How is she awful?
Hates freedom.
And now, Any Given Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Ward and Ethan Simpson.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup! Oh, blocked by James! LeBron James with the rejection!
Hello and welcome back to another great episode of Any Given Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ethan Simpson, sitting here with
Brendan Ward.
And we have a fantastic episode for you. We're going to talk about the MLB, the NFL, fantasy football, NBA. It's been a big week in sports. And I'm going to open up with the Cleveland Indians have decided to change their team name from Indians to something else in 2022. As a longtime season ticket holder, Brendan, I will tell you how I feel, but I want to get your thoughts first.
We've talked plenty of times about just what the name is, right? Luis Socalex is the reason that the first ever Native American player in MLB history.
Yes.
The reason that the name is there. So I've always been of the ilk that the name celebrates Native Americans and things like that. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I understand because I am pretty pissed about it. I'm not that happy about it being an Indians fan, and I'm going to be an unprofessional sports broadcaster right now and let the fandom get the best of me. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just kind of a cop-out. It started with Washington, and I mean, if the Indians are going to go, Chiefs got to go. Warriors probably needs to go. Seminoles probably needs to go. Blackhawks definitely needs to go. You're starting to get into these iconic, and I'm talking Florida State. As much as you hate to love them, it's an iconic university.
Yeah.
Golden State more lately, but they've always been the Warriors. Mm-hmm. The Kansas City Chiefs are in the middle of a dynasty, and we should be talking about them changing their name to where that Patrick Mahomes shouldn't be a Chief for the rest of his career because they should be the Kansas City something else's.
Yeah, and even the Atlanta Braves came out last year and said, or this summer they came out and said, we're not changing our names. That's our name. So my thoughts on that, Brendan. Can I show you something real fast?
Yeah, I definitely want your thoughts. You're the bigger baseball fan.
This is Cleveland Indians. Simpson, 99. Trash. Cleveland jersey, trash. Custom Indian shirt, Simpson, 99. Trash. That's what the Dolans think about their fans. They're lifelong fans, the fans that have spent money for years, but they want to change their name because people that live in Los Angeles or New York or any other place want the team name changed. Trash.
And essentially, it's a money move, right? Is what I'm gonna say it as. And we talk about the Dolans consistently being the cheapest of the cheapskates in the MLB. And this is what it came down to. You're starting to think about sponsors pulling their stuff because that's the only reason Washington in the NFL changed their name. So how are you going to market this? Because a couple years down the road, Lindor's not going to be here because you're not going to pay him.
He might not be here at the start of the season.
Well, and I know people are starting to throw out theories that, it makes financial sense now to re-sign Lindor because he's the face that can help market the new team and the new jerseys and things like that. No, if he don't want to be here, let his ass go.
Yeah, absolutely.
By all means, I'll live I'm gonna have to live with. I'm always gonna be a Cleveland baseball fan, so I'm gonna have to live with the name. But don't just pay somebody to be the face of your new marketing campaign. The Cleveland Browns released new jerseys 5 years ago with Dwayne Bowe
and Johnny Manziel.
And Johnny Manziel as one of the. Well, Johnny Manziel was a marketable guy back then.
Yeah, but it was Dwayne Bowe, Johnny Manziel, Brian Hartline,
just
all those guys.
Like Brian Hartline went from the Cleveland Browns. He played for like 5 games. He showed that, hey, I'm not really that good of a wide receiver anymore. And now he's like the best guy that the Buckeyes could have ever signed.
That is
because
true.
they continue to churn out these top-notch wide receivers. Michael Thomas, Terry McLaurin are arguably 2 of the top 5 wide receivers in all of football. Chris Olave is really good. Curtis Samuel is starting to be really good for the Panthers. But let's not get into Buckeyes football. We're talking about the Cleveland Indians right now.
So, what are your choices for the new nickname?
Honestly, I just think the Spiders is like, I get the history. I get that like they used to be, and I'm preparing myself that that's what it's gonna be, because even like on MLB.com over the weekend, that's what it was. They accidentally had it on there, and on ESPN it said Cleveland Indians ... Spiders. A story came out that both of those websites were doing that. So, but then again, they thought that was just because the Indians name change was coming with the announcement, but it's not. I know Dolan already said no tribe, because it defeats the purpose, right?
Not really. How many tribes? There's so many different tribes from different races and places in the world.
Yeah,
a tribe could be anything. A tribe is a group of people coming together.
So
that makes sense.
I really like the name. I just think that the reason they're not doing that is because of the thought that tribe is Native American related. I get what you're saying. I get the definition is a group of people, a tribe being together, and it works great because it's a baseball team. It's a group of it's a group of 9 guys on a field at a time, making things happen. I really like the name tribe, and I really like the concept of just changing Indians on the uniform to tribe and making a script T.
Or just going back to the script I. The script I enjoyed the script I. I always liked it. I didn't like it as much as Chief Wahoo, but as the world changes, you got to adapt with it. Go back to the script I.
Well,
because that's what's on the Indians on their jerseys.
Well, you can go to the script I, but they're changing the name now, so you're not going to use an I.
I guess
Well,
script T then.
yeah.
I guess. All right.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
So, like the script T, I think, and then you just kind of keep everything pretty similar, right? You keep
go back to the old school Indian C.
Yeah.
That
the blocks
kind of looks like the CGOD logo.
Yeah.
But not really, because I did not steal that from them.
I just, I don't want no youth baseball.
Let's go Spiders.
Yeah, like I just don't want it, because I see Spiders, and there were already people talking about marketing plans and having Spider-Man uniforms. I don't want no freaking Spider-Man uniforms.
That's minor league baseball.
that is.
They do Spider-Man night, and they make a Spider-Man jersey to get people to come to games.
Yeah, because you can't sell tickets to minor league baseball, single A baseball. If it's not triple A and people aren't borderline on that major league roster, it's not really that interesting of a game to somebody.
Well, here's the thing. Have you noticed that? So back in the day, Tampa Bay, when they came out, were the Devil Rays, and then this big religious group. They signed petitions. They did all this stuff to get devil taken out of it. So they're the Rays. But now the Rays are going back to the big Devil Ray logo, as you can see in the World Series, and their World Series hats and everything.
So I love their hats so much. Lids was having a sale the other day, and I almost bought us both one.
Hey, I would have taken one.
Right? I was like, I know Ethan will love it. I just like their colors. I like everything about the Rays because it's everything I want the Indians to be. That small market team that is right where they need to be right now. If a couple bad choices from Kevin Cash away from being World Series type champions.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, Kevin Cash did deserve Manager of the Year. What he has done with the Rays since he became the coach and left the Indians. Sorry, the baseball club. I don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah. They're the Indians until they're not the Indians. So we're not going to be politically correct about it because they're not either. They're going to be the Indians in 2021. So until they're the Cleveland Red Tails or some stupid shit, they're the Indians for us. I hate to tell you.
So for my choices, with the Indians, I would go with, I saw something over the summer, and it was the Cleveland Coyotes, but their logo was like a Native American drawing of a coyote, and their alternative logo was like a totem pole. So I could...
It's still kind of paying homage to what they were.
Without saying, I guess, the derogatory term of Indian.
I think I remember seeing the Coyotes in like a mock-up uniform, and I think it's like, Coyotes is good. It's aggressive. It's not spiders. Sure, a lot of people are scared of spiders. I want you to instill fear with your nickname. I also Cleveland Baseball Club. If you guys start selling me on that crap,
I'm going straight to Tampa.
I'll be a Rays fan too, because I am not going to be a fan of the Cleveland Baseball Club. I hate it. I hate that. Like I hate
the football team.
Bro,
they
hate
had so many different
Washington.
The football team.
I hate Washington with a passion, but I am still upset that they're thinking about keeping Washington football team.
It's so dumb. This is not. It's not like Manchester FC Football Club. Manchester Football Club. Hey, all you with some rowdy hooligans, mate.
Right, like,
let's go give it.
And don't sell me. Well, Major League Soccer does it with Chicago FC. Well, Major League Soccer brings in like 2 viewers a night. Can we stop? The Columbus Crew won the championship over the weekend, and it's not even a story in Ohio.
The only reason people know is because the Browns keep posting it because it's Jimmy Haslam's other team,
right? That's why we know about the Columbus Crew, because it's Jimmy Haslam's other business entity.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, and they've got their own stadium that they share with the Football Hall of Fame and everything. Like, they won the title, and it's just a mute. We cared more about the Lake Erie Monsters winning a Calder Cup than we did about the Columbus Crew. So don't give me no argument that Major League Soccer is doing something, because obviously soccer does not work in the United States.
No, unless it's indoor soccer.
Indoor soccer works in the United States. People love it. Otto Orff is great. He's a legend here in Cleveland. We loved the Force. Nobody gives the Crunch. He was on the Force too.
Yeah, but they're always the Crunch.
There'll always be the Crunch.
Because the name change. Nobody likes the name change.
There'll always be the Crunch. Nobody likes the name change. There you go. And really, it kind of ruined it, right?
Yeah.
They changed to the Force. 4 years later, they're not a team.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I envision that for Cleveland baseball, because it is Major League Baseball and there's a lot of financial backing behind that. There'll still be a team, but there's so much into changing a name that it's just something that it'll be 5 years before it becomes normal.
Yeah. I mean, knowing myself, I'm still going to call them the Indians. That's just me.
You'll hear me for the next 3 years on this podcast call them the Indians, at least, until I get used to, or unless they come out with the most incredible name that I'm like, oh yeah, that's just badass, I'm in.
Well, it still takes me time to not say the Redskins when I'm talking about Washington.
Right. And
I go, I mean, football team.
Commentators, some of the best. Jim Nantz still says it.
Al Michaels.
We won't say he's a partner because I hate that dude. But he's not a terrible broadcaster. He says dumb stuff.
All right, so moving on from, to me, was a tragedy on Saturday or Sunday, because you know me, I'm a bit. When they took away Chief Wahoo, I was like, all right, whatever. I can see that we're still gonna wear Wahoo. I'm still gonna wear Wahoo.
They still sell Wahoo, somewhat.
And then now it's like we're gonna take away the whole name. We're gonna change it to something else. Like,
I was good with losing the guy with the red face and the. I was all right with that, even though it's an iconic logo. That I can understand the argument there, but the nickname is just something I wanted to keep for just tradition and whatever you want to call it. And I might sound defeated and depressed right now, and I'm sure I'll get over it at some point.
All right, so moving on from that whole situation with MLB, the Any Given Podcast Fantasy Football League playoffs start this weekend. Brendan, do you want to start this off?
You want to talk playoffs, man?
Oh, I'm talking playoffs, baby.
Playoffs. All right, we got our top 6. Yes, even though it didn't look great for either of us sometimes early in the season, we both pushed through. Thankfully, because it would have been pretty embarrassing if both hosts of the league just did not make the playoffs. But we both did. But shout out to Kyle. getting that number 1 seed in the first round bye with the fantasy F words. A very new guy to fantasy, somebody we didn't really expect to be there at the end.
You guys were always saying he took Tom Brady in the third round.
I clowned him immediately when he took Tom Brady in the third round, but it's worked. Although he did use Joe Burrow a lot more than Tom Brady this year.
That's true.
So I'll give him, but it worked for him. He's only lost twice all year, earned himself that first round bye. So we'll see you next week, Kyle. You get the winner of my game. We'll talk about that in a second. At the number 2 seed, we got Lights, Camera, Action, which is Dean, my father-in-law, Heidi's dad. He also gets a first-round bye with 6 teams. And then we start getting into who plays this week. You, the Kent Honks, at the number 3 spot. Projected to go 1-13 in preseason projections. End up finishing, 9-5?
Something like that. I mean, third place. So
End up finishing 9-5. And then me at 4, Hunt Chubbs, OBJYN. I ended up losing to Heidi over the weekend, and she almost snuck into the playoffs. But she ended up. We'll get to that in a second with Devil Lettuce because it was coming down to him. I ended up losing to her, but still end up at number 4. I was at 3. I succeeded that to you, which kind of upsets me a little bit because of who I have to play.
Oh yeah.
Trey Harris fans, which is your brother Ian. Possibly the hottest team in all of the league right now.
Yeah, he beat me a couple weeks ago.
Pretty badly.
Yeah.
And I was really worried, so I was really conflicted. I really was excited to see Heidi get in if she beat me. But I was also like, I need to win to avoid him because he's been the hottest team. So, as we just said, Ian at number 5. And then at number 6, Devil Lettuce Wop Lover, which is my cousin Ian. Ian Meslak, who has kind of been limping himself to the finish line. He was up there at that 2 spot before Kyle kind of took over, and he's lost a couple in a row. He's down at the 6th spot. He ended up winning yesterday by 2 points, or 3 points, after the Ravens defense, because he had the Ravens defense playing yesterday. Mm-hmm. The Ravens defense scored negative points. And me and Heidi knew going into the night that we needed that. And as the Browns kept scoring, we kept getting more and more excited. Because if she would have won and he would have lost, they would have ended up with the same record. But she had him by quite a few in points, and she would have ended up in that 6th spot. Unfortunately, the Ravens defense only scored -2 instead of -6, and she fell a little short. But she gets that top spot and a first-round bye in the consolation bracket.
Yeah. So speaking of this fantasy football going on, like you were saying, Ian, Trey's hair fans, we've been calling him out for quite a few weeks. Like, dude, are you even setting up your lineup? And he would listen to the podcast, and I'd get a text like, hey, asshole, I'm setting up my lineup.
Yeah.
And then once we start calling him out, then his players start just popping off.
And he's always seemed like a scary team. He's got Pat Mahomes there at quarterback, who can always score 40 if you need him to. And I mean, like, I've got Russell Wilson, but he's slowed down a little bit. Christian McCaffrey's been. I really hope he plays this week, because I really need him to advance. I think because if not, me and you are going to be playing for that 5 and 6 spot. Or well, you should win. Or I'll end up playing Devil Lettuce Wop Lover or something for that 5 or 6 spot. And I mean, I should beat him, but I also have a team that's good enough to make this run at the championship. But so does everyone in front of me. You do, Kyle does, Lights, Camera, Action does. Ian does. We obviously know that. That 6th seed is the one that I think has an outside. I mean, he's got a good team if he pays attention. It's just an outside shot. I wrote down here, talk shortly about the consolation bracket and who has a shot to win that bracket. Honestly, I think it's Heidi and T. And because you got Josh, who's kind of been checked out. You got my Uncle Julio down there, who's been checked out. Heidi's been on it, and she's got a good team, almost made the playoffs. She also has a first-round bye, though, so like she don't even have to play this weekend. Then she gets a semifinal and a final. So I really think that she or T are going to be the two that pull out of that. I mean, Primetime maybe, but even him, he's kind of been.
I could see Heidi and T coming out, because those are two tough teams to go against too. And T even said yesterday when he didn't start Kareem, he was like, I made a mistake. He's like, Kareem's popping off. And so speaking of Kareem popping off, the Browns lose a probably the best game of the year. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, the outcome wasn't fantastic. The whole game, the whole 4 quarters were fantastic. There was so much drama. There was people pooping their pants on the sidelines. But the Browns lose the thriller on Monday Night Football, 47-2 or 42 to the Ravens. They fall to 9-4 on the year, which is still, compared to what I have seen my whole life.
I'll reiterate it. I said it last week. We were headed into week 14 at 9-3. Look, we're headed into the end of December football. End of December. Headed towards January with 9 wins, with everything ahead of them. Mm-hmm. It's not like they got the door blown off of them.
No, it came down to the final seconds.
You know what I took away from that game? And yes, I couldn't ask for much more besides a win. Mm-hmm. I couldn't ask for much. I couldn't ask for Baker to play much better besides that one interception, which I will continue to argue with everybody. We should have been running the freaking ball in the first place from your own 10-yard line, backed up in the fourth quarter, only needing 7 points. You didn't need to throw. Okay, he fit it in a tight window. I'll give credit to Bowser because it was an incredible play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't knock Baker for that, because if Bowser doesn't make an incredible play, it's a first down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
He made the throw.
Yeah, and to the people I've seen this. All last night I saw this from people commenting on sports broadcasters' tweets and on sports radio tweets saying that after this game, they are still disappointed in Baker Mayfield. Do not sign him to the 5th-year extension.
Numbers don't lie. And I seen it too, because Brandon Marshall woke me up this morning with one of the worst takes I've ever seen on First Things First. Just going off about how ball security is job security. Well, how about a guy who's thrown 1 interception in nearly 250 pass attempts and hasn't thrown one since he threw 21 straight completions against a Cincinnati team who still had Joe Burrow and blew him out of the water?
4 passing touchdowns in the first half of a game since Otto Graham. Otto Graham has a statue outside of First Energy Stadium.
He's 100 years old.
It was on his 99th birthday, too. Here's the thing. Baker Mayfield on Monday night went 28 for 47, 343 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 1 rushing touchdown. Brendan, you know what that says to me? We'll say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Elite.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
We're trying to sell our shirts.
Numbers
bro.
don't lie.
Numbers
and
don't
I've
lie.
been selling it like crazy. I don't even call him Baker anymore in any tweets. I've been calling him 6 nonstop for some reason. And you know, I was like, I sent a tweet out this morning, or I think when I sent it to you about 6 is the real deal last night.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep calling him 6 just because of the shirt. Numbers don't lie. It's the way it goes. But I'm calling the man elite now. The Browns proved to me, while like I said, a win would have been great. The Browns proved to me last night that they can go into any team in these playoffs and make a run. They proved that they could do that. I think if this defense can slow down Mahomes a little bit, they could beat the Chiefs.
That's the only problem is with our defense. We have fantastic players on there, but most of the secondary are all. It's the final line.
We've got 4 stringers in right now. Harrison's out. Ward is out. Greedy Williams hasn't played all year.
Imagine we had Delpit, we had
Grant
Greedy
Delpit,
Williams, we had Ward yesterday, we had all those guys.
Johnson's good, but he's a backup. Sendejo, I mean, I'm not going to talk bad about him today because I've been defending him all day because of J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, he almost stopped that 2-point, but with Sendejo he's always there at the last second. Put like at the last second after the play had already been made.
He is Jeff Heath to the Cowboys. For 10 years prior to this year, I watched Jeff Heath do that same thing, but because he hit people hard as can be, they loved him.
Yeah.
But he was just Sendejo was good. He's just old now.
He plays his heart out on the field, but
I'll never hate the guy for his effort.
no. You can't hate him on that, but it's just he's not making the tackles he needs to be. He's never at the right time there for a pass. He's always on the other side of the field and then just rushing down when he sees the ball in the air, and he can never get there on time. So speaking of numbers, Nick Chubb, 12 carries, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt, 6 carries, 33 yards, 6 catches, 77 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown. The two-headed monster was alive and well last night.
The Browns certainly have their identity, and
Yeah.
it's those two. It's if we're gonna pass it to them, okay, Kareem Hunt. If we're gonna just pound the rock, it's both of them. Kareem Hunt is definitely the better pass catcher, but Nick Chubb is no slouch. What do you have? He had a couple himself. I just didn't write him down. I think he had 3 for 20-some yards or something like that.
Yeah, he was getting the checkdowns.
Yeah, he was getting checkdowns, and that's what Nick Chubb is there for. Nick Chubb is there for, hey, if we're going to do a play-action pass, you're either going to blow up a blitzing linebacker, or I'm going to find you on the checkdown if nothing's there deep. And that's what he's there for. And then, like you said, it's the two-headed monster. 47 passes from Baker worries me a little bit, and I know that the game kind of dictated that. But I think we could ease down on the passing a little bit.
Well, they're trying to switch their whole script because everybody comes in and they're thinking, hey, Baker's just gonna run the ball, or they're just gonna run the ball with Chubb and Hunt, and Baker's gonna barely throw the ball. So they're switching it up. They switched it up on the Titans and on the Ravens.
That's fine against the Titans and the Ravens, but if you come out against Kansas City Chiefs team and don't run this ball, I'm gonna go nuts.
Yeah.
Because the name of that game isn't that they know your script is gonna happen, because you can overpower that defense. The name of that game is gonna be making sure 15's on the sideline.
Yeah, that is true.
You need to, if you're going to want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, it's going to need to be a 40-20 advantage in terms of time of possession.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how you beat the Chiefs. Is you keep 15, you keep Patty off the field,
and it's not even just him. You keep 10 off the field. You keep 87 off the field. Kelsey is going to lead the league in receiving yards as a tight end this year.
Yeah,
it's just. They've got an offense, and it's not just like Mahomes is great, but it's not just him on that offense.
Absolutely. And speaking of receivers, Higgins, 6 catches, 68 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 fumbles. Landry, 6 receptions, 52 yards, and 1 fumble. They were so lucky that those 3 fumbles hopped on the ball, or the one went out of bounds.
It was like 3 passes in a row too, man, that they just kept dropping, putting the ball on the ground, and it was just like, what is going on? I was starting to get frustrated. I was like, we can't do this. This game will be a blowout, and then we're just back defending you for the next week from the national media, who starts saying typical old Browns. But thankfully, that wasn't really the case. I do want to say that how dumb was Freddie Kitchens, because Rashard Higgins every single week now is making some sort of impact play, to the point where if there was a decision made on OBJ not to return next year, I wouldn't even blink an eye.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, and I'm not going to go into OBJ. No, I'm not going to do that. So, but for just Rashard Higgins, now that he is getting those opportunities, is an impact player. He's catching jump balls down the sideline. He's catching crossing routes and taking them to the house. He's catching 26-yard touchdowns. He's following Baker on a 4th and 4 play, who in his own right had a 15-yard running lane. But I'll take a touchdown over just a first down any day of the week, even though when Baker threw that, because I couldn't see Higgins, I was yelling, what the hell are you doing?
Same here. I was like, Baker, why the hell aren't you running the ball? Look at that. He had a perfect lane to the end zone,
I was like, honestly, he might have made it with his legs, but Higgins was wide open,
and then
kept the work.
They showed the replay. The defensive back on him slipped too, and he had that perfect little shot to him, that's good. I want to see that in my quarterback.
Yeah,
because in his head he was like, I can run. Then he saw that he was going to run. He saw that slip and was like, tossed it right in there.
That was Peters on that play, and he was hurt on the play. Did you hear what Levy said later that game?
No.
He said that I think he was like, honestly, Peters is back now. I think on that touchdown pass, his pride was hurt more than his leg.
It probably was.
and just roast Marcus Peters, because that dude is just a cocky little. I'm not gonna say it. I've never liked Marcus Peters.
Speaking of not Steelers, Ravens being injured, how about Lamar Jackson claiming, quote unquote, he had cramps and had to go to the locker room? We all know why he went to the locker room. Everybody on Twitter last night knew why he went to the locker room from that video of him running in there. And any of us know that run, that little quick little hustle, like with your ass all tightened up and stuff, and somebody's coming out and you're like, get out
the way, get out the way. Yeah.
Everybody's done that.
That was the giveaway for me. The run, whatever, you could sell me that maybe his hamstring was cramping or something. You could sell me on the run. The giveaway for me is when the guy was in his way at the door and he was just like, get out of the way, I'm about to go.
Right.
He was turtling, man, whatever. And then I really think he went in there and he exploded the bathroom, and then he sat there for 20 minutes,
right?
Because he didn't want to be like, oh, well, he just went to take a crap.
He just went in there for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then comes back out like, oh no, my cramps are gone now. I'm good, bro.
Just the worst time, like. And I know people are saying now, well, it's out of a movie. Here comes Jackson. Just terrible, man. And I know he had to play. There was no other option unless you were going to make Marquise Brown your quarterback because RG3 wasn't active. Yeah. So like I figured he would come back.
RG3 was at home posting tweets with like the laughing emoji after the game. Like, shut up, Robert. You got robbed in the parking lot at Brown Stadium. They stole all the stuff from your car. No wonder you don't like Cleveland. So moving on from that, looking ahead to Sunday night's matchup against the Giants. Brendan, what do you have for us?
Looking ahead against the Giants, I really, honestly, I was a little worried about this game because it started to look like a game that could be a toss-up. You know the way the Giants were playing, and then they kind of came back down to earth this week, losing 26-7 to the Cardinals, and just kind of get blown out of the water and looking like they're didn't deserve to be on the field. The thing is they got their quarterback back. Shouldn't that scare you? Colt McCoy, who by all means is like a messiah when it comes to coming off the bench, is not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he has definitely made that Giants offense look stellar. And then Jones comes back, and you guys just kind of stellar. But Jones comes back, and your offense kind of falls off a cliff, and you couldn't do anything. You only scored 7 points. Your Saquon Barkley, there's going to be a decision made on that at some point, considering he can't stay on the field. This is the second year in a row that he's just been unavailable. And sure, when he's on the field, he's a great running back, one of the best there is in the league. And I'll give you that, even though he doesn't really play. And I just think that I wrote on here, should the Browns get back to their identity and focus more on the run in this game, despite seemingly being a pass-heavy team against both Tennessee and Baltimore? I like your kind of argument that, well, it was just trying to flip the script on two very physical teams where the billing was, rushing attack versus rushing attack. No, we're gonna beat you with 6's arm. So there's that. I just think that this Giants D cannot stop the run. So do it. Look, you win these next two, you're putting yourself in perfect position heading into Week 17 for a playoff spot. Losing last night really throws away the division, especially considering all Pittsburgh has to do is win one more game and it's theirs. And they play Cincinnati on Monday night, who just got destroyed by the Cowboys.
Yeah. So to piggyback off what you were saying, I absolutely agree. You should do the run game because now, what do you think the Giants were doing, today and for the rest of the week in the film room? They're watching how to contain Baker, seeing Baker, how he rolls out. Baltimore did do a great job on trying to contain Baker from rolling out. That was one of the things I was saying last night was the Browns should have just started running it up the middle, doing some fakes, having Baker run out because they were having their corners come in. But besides that, I think the Giants will be trying to watch for Baker's rollout and all that. You know what? Just smash mouth AFC North football.
I think
take my two guys and just shove them right through the middle.
Just to kind of throw the scent off it, right?
Yeah.
People are starting to pick up that, hey, if we're going to stop the run, they are going to roll Baker out on some play actions and throw on us. And the one clip that came out earlier of the 37-yard pass to Peoples-Jones between the two defenders and how Baker read that perfectly. Baker is reading defenses now. And earlier in the season, there was arguments that he couldn't. But here he is reading defenses now, so he's getting better. So... And that's what it is. If they sell out to stop the pass this time, run. But also, if Baker's got to throw, I'm confident in Baker now that he could read the defenses. I'm confident that he's the franchise quarterback. I'm confident that maybe we don't even talk fifth-year option. We talk extension.
Yeah.
Because we're there now. And Baker, and that's what we needed from him this year, right? We didn't come into this year thinking that they were going to win the Super Bowl. Sure, by all means, go win the Super Bowl. I will sit here and go nuts on camera. I will sit here and toot my own horn. I will spend $200 on championship gear. I will do it all. So go win a title this year if you can. But we were just looking for progression.
Yeah.
And I think coming out of last night's game, Baker's the guy. Kevin Stefanski is 100% the guy. I think you got the right GM in the spot. You obviously need to go secondary, maybe in the draft. But then again, you're returning a lot of people. You're missing everybody in that secondary. So find the pieces. Find what you need. Solidify that. So many arguments were, I bet you Barry now wishes that he did something for the secondary at the deadline. Why? Why mortgage the future for a season that, if you make the playoffs, exceeds expectations when you're looking for sustained success rather than just winning this year?
Absolutely. And another thing is, and this is not the whole, I'm making an excuse why we lost because our whole secondary is injured.
No.
Like I said earlier, I'm not making that excuse.
They lost.
I'm just saying, when these guys get healthy and they come back next year, just watch out.
It's a different defense with Denzel Ward there, with Greedy Williams there, with what I believe Grant Delpit is going to be in the NFL.
Yeah.
Who was literally drafted for the sole purpose of being fast enough to stop the quarterback that was on the opposite side last night.
Yeah.
Ronnie Harrison, since being traded here, even while he was in Jacksonville, was showing that he was a starting safety there. That's only going to add that. I'm just saying, I'm not going to make excuses. The Browns lost. No excuses for it. I just don't think that we should be as negative as a lot of people are being coming out of that game. A loss is a loss. It stung. Sure, I would have liked it to swing the other way. But in the end, when it's coming off of a 55-yard field goal to win the game, they just unfortunately had the best kicker to ever do it.
I know a lot of people that I see online and some I associate with, maybe not friends with, but associates. They always sit there and, they're like, well, if Baker wasn't quarterback, they would have won that game, which is, I wanted to say it. I'll hop over that word and say extremely stupid.
Yeah.
Extremely something stupid.
To me, it's the argument. It's the same argument for Clemson beating Notre Dame when Trevor Lawrence wasn't playing. That kid that replaced him had 450 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
What else could Trevor Lawrence have done?
Yeah.
If Baker Mayfield's 343 yards and 3 fourth quarter touchdowns. They were down 14 to start the fourth quarter, and then he scored his 2 passing touchdowns to take the lead, and then that rushing touchdown got him back in at 42.
Yeah. With that beautiful slide, too.
With the beautiful slide and the homage to Lamar Jackson by throwing the ball at the wall.
That was fantastic.
I liked the cockiness. I loved it. So what else could, if you're making that argument, what could some other quarterback have done?
I don't know. A lot of these people say, time to let Baker go, and we want Justin Fields. You got to be
First of all, you don't have a shot at Justin Fields unless you mortgage the entire team. The license plate is falling over there. You got to mortgage your entire team if you want Justin Fields. It's not happening. You're going to pick number 20 through 25 in the draft this year somewhere. And by all means, sure, that doesn't sound like great, but who gives a damn about the draft?
You're gonna get Justin Fields, and what are you gonna do with Stefanski? You're gonna try and turn the Browns to where they are now into the Baltimore Ravens with Justin Fields. Is that what you want to do? Is that what you think the AFC North is supposed to be? No, the AFC North is supposed to be hard-hitting running backs and gunslinging quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, the Ravens do have some hard-hitting running backs.
They don't have a gunslinging quarterback. He made a couple good passes yesterday.
I mean, An extra running back helps too.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Lamar Jackson, the extra running back on that team. He plays like a little kid out playing backyard football when, they do five Mississippi and they blitz you and he just runs the ball because everybody else is down with the receivers. That's Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback, but he's a better running back.
He is simply the best athlete on the field. That's it. That's what he is.
Except when it comes down to his arm.
You don't have to have an arm to be an athlete. He's the best
I know
athlete.
he's an athlete, but he's not a quarterback.
Yeah, he's the best athlete on the field. It's just most of those guys for their career get thrown in at that quarterback position. And at quarterback in the NFL, it's not always being about the best athlete because you don't need to be the best athlete to throw 70 yards down the field like Ben Roethlisberger or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes is fast, but he's not the best athlete either. Baker Mayfield, not the best athlete. He's a big dude. Who else? Aaron Rodgers is not a great athlete. Mm-hmm. He's a quarterback. He's one of
Matty
the
Ice.
Matty Ice is a very slow dude.
Phillip Rivers.
Tom Brady was fat coming out of college. Mm-hmm. He just happened to find somebody that took a flyer on a 6th-round kid that any other place he might not have made the team. It might not even be a thought right now.
Justin Herbert, not a great athlete. Josh Rosen, definitely not a great athlete. You don't have to be. Josh Allen. Let's not start talking about Josh Allen.
He's not.
You said Josh Rosen, but I just realized you said Josh Allen earlier. Josh Allen is a fantastic runner.
He is.
He's a great running quarterback. He's a big quarterback. He's got an arm. Kind of reminds me of my guy who's coming back, 2021 season. Dustin Crum's coming back. A lot of that team's coming back. They're hungry. They're coming back for that MAC championship. They want to prove that this year wasn't a fluke, that they went undefeated. They want to come back, and they want to completely kill the MAC.
Book it.
So
Patterson's gone.
So, okay.
Book it. Patterson's gone.
All right. So we're going to move away from that. Sorry, I got a little amped up when you said Josh Allen. Because Dustin Crum has the same characteristics.
Same.
He runs like him. He can throw like him. He can sit in the pocket. Exactly.
I really like it, and people need to stop sleeping on the man because now that he's back, he's possibly going to be the best quarterback in next year's draft.
Crum for Heisman's staying up on the marquee
for a year and a half now.
I said it. I'm gonna have to put 2021 on hashtag Crum for Heisman 2021 now.
Yeah, start campaigning because unfortunately he got robbed of about 3 games. Ended up being like 6 total, but 3 games that he should have played this year. Right? 2 at least.
2.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, because they were 3-1.
They were playing 6 games, I think, this year.
Well, what I was getting at is they should have played 10. And
I got you.
I truly don't think Buffalo's an undefeated team if they have to play 10 different teams.
Absolutely not.
And then that MAC championship falls differently this year, I think. And I just with a little more preparation for Buffalo, I think that defense doesn't allow what they did, and I think it's completely different. Buffalo, I think, is going to fall off a cliff next year, and look for Kent. But let's go to the NFL.
All right, we're going into the NFL. Around the NFL, scores from Week 13. The boys defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 30-7. The Los Angeles Rams defeated the New England Patriots 24-3. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the Minnesota Vikings 26-14. The Arizona Cardinals defeated the New York Giants 26-7. Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Miami Dolphins 33-27. And actually, that was a very great game. That was an extremely exciting
second best game of the weekend. Kansas City falls down quick early and then comes back and scores 30 unanswered. And at that point, I was like, I turned it off. And then you messaged me 30 minutes later, like, man, watch out for Miami. And I was like, what the are they coming back really? And then, so I click it on, and they're down 6 points, and I'm like, for real. Watch out for Miami, because I know a lot of people are thinking that they're really on the outside looking in, especially with Baltimore winning last night. Mm-hmm. They think that Baltimore is going to win out and make that playoff spot over them. But watch out for them, because they've been a very good team this year.
At the start of the year, when Tua got drafted, I was like, he's got the messed up hip. He's had all those injuries. I was skeptical. He's a left-handed quarterback. I'm not really a big fan of that. But after these games that he's played, he is looking like an NFL quarterback coming out of the gates. Him and Justin Herbert will probably – and we'll get to that in a second. But, all right, so Tennessee coming back after that big whooping from Cleveland, beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-10. The Chicago Bears beat the Houston Texans 36-7. The Denver Broncos beat the Carolina Panthers 32-27. The Seattle Seahawks beat the New York Jets 40-3, which, of course, the Indianapolis Colts beat the Las Vegas Raiders 44-27. That game was kind of close, and then the Colts just took it away. The Washington football team beat the San Francisco 49ers 23-15. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the New Orleans Saints 24-21. That's what I was going to say, too. Three biggest quarterbacks coming out of the 2020 draft: Tua, Herbert, Hurts. Hurts came out, first game, beat the Saints.
Who looked like they were on a steamboat path to the first seed in the NFC, and just get upset.
And the Birds
by
come
Hurts,
in and they
Hurts and the Eagles. Like, I hate giving the Eagles props, but props, man. Props.
So speaking of the Chargers and Justin Herbert, they come out and they beat the Atlanta Falcons 20-17. That lightning bolt hit the Birds, took them out of the sky. Green Bay Packers beat the Detroit Lions. This was another close game, 31-24. If you know me, I am a big Matthew Stafford fan. Great game. They almost had it. And then the Buffalo Bills. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, especially when they beat the Pittsburgh Squealers 26-15. You know what? I said it last night after the Browns-Ravens game. I said I stand by what I had to say about the Steelers and Washington game. I stand by what I had to say about the Buffalo Steelers game because you know why? They deserve it. Their fans deserve it. They thought they were going undefeated. They were nutso.
I stand by it, too. You want to know why? Because that Browns team that showed up last night beats the shit out of that Steelers team that showed up Sunday.
That's a fact.
Beats the shit out of them. I hate to tell you. They've laid 2 fat eggs in 2 straight weeks on primetime football and then get another one this next Monday. If Cincinnati beats them, I will pee on a Steelers hat and put it on live TV.
We'll bring a terrible towel. We'll find one.
I'll burn it or something. We'll make it happen.
Yes. So Pittsburgh losing to Buffalo, that makes sense. Buffalo, probably the second best team in the AFC. But losing to the football team, that was unexcusable.
By all means, they've won 5 in a row themselves.
Inexcusable, whatever.
Inexcusable.
Inexcusable.
But the football team have won 5 in a row.
Yeah. Watch out. Alex Smith did go out last week with the calf injury, but it wasn't the same leg.
That's all right. He'll be back, but he's made them a playoff team.
All right.
They're going to win the East.
That is true. I was saying the Giants, but I hope that the Browns just completely destroy the Giants next week. All right. Preseason action has begun in the National Basketball Association. The regular season opens up next Tuesday night. Cavaliers are 2-0 in the preseason.
I said it earlier. Okoro looks impressive. Definitely not what I thought he'd be. He looks impressive offensively, too.
Drummond looks comfortable in this organization. He looks a lot more comfortable than he was in Detroit.
Detroit, he was just like, okay, I'm getting a paycheck. But Drummond looks happy. Kevin Love, really, and I didn't tell you earlier, but because I was saving it for this hot take, the Cavaliers end up with the 8th seed in the playoffs. Okoro looks like he could be good. If Bickerstaff realizes that he should probably be playing him over Cedi Osman, I think the Cavaliers can make the playoffs.
Yeah. You wrote here projected starting 5 for the Cleveland Cavaliers: Sexton, Garland, Osman, Love, and Drummond. I like that.
Well, and Osman will probably start the season there at that 3 just because of he's been there 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
And he's got that experience. And by all means, he's not the greatest 3. He's not really on any other team. I'm not sure he plays as a starter at least. But he'll start the season there. But if Okoro still ends up on the projection that he's on right now, I really think he's the starting 3 by midway through the season. I'm really excited to see Windler because I think he's this year's Tyler Hero, a guy that's just going to be a silent assassin there on the outside as Love and Drummond beat you down on the inside. Some guy that you just kick it out real quick and nail it. Really excited. I know Kevin Porter Jr. had some things in the offseason that he's dealing with, but excited to see what he comes back because arguably he was the pick of the draft last year with the way he played. So just very interested to see what they do. I think they're headed in the right direction. I think 2 years removed from LeBron, this time looks a whole hell of a lot different than 2 years removed from LeBron did the last time. And I hate on Dan Gilbert a lot. But kudos to him for not giving in that last year, especially when it became more and more evident that LeBron was leaving by selling that 5th pick just to win another title. Sure, that title would have been great, but even selling that 5th pick for whoever you were going to sell it for would have been a 1-year rental, and then you're in that same position you were in when LeBron went to Miami.
Yeah, like you were saying about this projected starting 5, just at the beginning of the season, which is Wednesday, the 23rd of December, we are playing against the Charlotte Hornets with Lil LaMelo Ball, Swaggy. I think this team this year compared to last year is going to be night and day. Maybe not as, but they're not going to be the second worst team in the league.
No, they're not.
And the Warriors aren't going to be the worst team in the league this year at all because they got their guys back.
Well,
so it's going to be completely different, kind of moved around.
I'm going to be interested to see what Wiggins does to that dynamic. I think he might ruin it.
Draft day, Johnny Manziel. Draft day, A. Wiggins, man.
5
years later, how are they still the man still?
I really think that Wiggins is going to ruin that. Losing Klay Thompson again this year is going to be a big loss for them. Steph Curry, time to go prove that you're the man. End of story. I wrote on here preseason playoff teams for both conferences. We'll do it real quick. Bucks, Raptors, Celtics, Wizards, because I think Russell Westbrook's going to do some damage in the East with that Washington squad. Maybe they're not the 4th seed, but still, who else is there? Heat, oh, for sure. And then we got 3 more. Cavs are 1, the Knicks are 1, and the Nets are 1.
Okay.
Cavs might be 7, Knicks 8.
The only thing I would change on the East is I might throw in the Hornets instead of the Knicks.
Okay. And I really...
Just because they've been moving, not just LaMelo Swag Ball, but just because they've been making moves in the offseason.
Are you in on him?
What?
Are you in on him?
No, absolutely
I
not.
think he's going to be good.
I
don't really like his family. I could care less about the Ball family, but I think if anybody's going to succeed in the NBA, it's going to be him.
He does nice passes. He can shoot, but I haven't really seen anything.
That's kind of... Oh, his entire family's like that. His brother, the brother that can't make the NBA, is the best shooter of all 3 of them. And
Cavs might as well pick him up.
Give him a shot. Why not?
Put him on the bench.
Put him on some low team.
No, I wouldn't want LeVar coming to Cleveland.
And they immediately gave him more press. They put him in a Bleacher Report Ask Me Anything the other day, and I was just like, why? Stop giving this man a freaking platform.
It's because people will click on it. That's it.
I get it.
People will click on it.
It's clickbait. It's all of this. Stop giving that man a platform.
All right. So, whatever. This is not. We don't talk about LeVar on this podcast.
All right. Yeah.
He's a clown.
Yeah, no.
Needs a red nose. All right. So for the West, who do you got?
The only one that matters is the Lakers because I think they're the only team that got better. The Clippers will be in the playoffs. The Nuggets are going to be in the playoffs. The Trailblazers are going to be in the playoffs. Look for the Spurs to get back there with keeping DeRozan. They had an off year last year. Why am I blanking?
Suns.
The Suns are for sure getting in the playoffs. Chris Paul, a big deal. Arguably finished the season the best team in the West. Going 8-0 in that bubble. Where I'm at 7 now.
Jazz?
The Jazz. There you go. Donovan Mitchell signing that big deal. One last thing on the NBA. Who is your favorite to win the 2021 NBA title?
Before I get there, obviously Lakers. But what about the Pelicans? You think they have a chance?
At the bottom there, probably.
Sneaking in, being one of those sneaky teams to...
So that bottom is going to be, I think, a 4-team race. I think the Suns will be there near the bottom because there's that progression. They're not going to jump all the way to the top.
They got some young guys they brought in, CP3.
Yeah, I
help
think
coach them.
He did a lot for the Thunder last year. I think he's going to do the same thing. Maybe put him in the middle of that pack or near the end. The thing is I think that last seed is going to be a 4-team race. You're going to have the Suns there. You're going to have the Grizzlies there. You're going to have the Pelicans there, and probably the Spurs. I just think that experience of Popovich is going to help lead the Spurs to that 8th seed.
There you go. All right. And so U.S. 2021 NBA championship, obviously Lakers, LeBron, AD.
You look around and, like, sure, the Wizards got better getting rid of Wall and bringing in Westbrook. But if you look from top to bottom, the Lakers got way better than any other team. Bringing in Wes Matthews, stealing Harrell from the Clippers, bringing in Dennis Schroeder. There are just so many different things. Talen Horton-Tucker looks like he's going to be an absolute monster after torching the Clippers the other day. Mm-hmm. Just all of that kind of stuff, it scares me. And Michael Jordan fans, get ready because LeBron could have 5 in 6 months.
Watch out. One thing you said about the Wizards, I love Russ, as we've talked about on multiple podcasts. But the only thing is, Russ has to be number 1.
He will be.
I know, but you got to build around Russ. Are they going to completely rebuild their team around Russ?
Russ and Beal, yeah.
Okay. And then another thing is, I don't think the Nets don't quite have the chemistry that can take on the Lakers. Sorry, Isaiah McCoy. Sorry to hate on your team, but I don't think that the Nets will be making it to the finals this year.
Hey, McCoy, call up your boys and tell them to trade for James Harden so it just completely ruins everything.
There you go, yeah.
You won't have a shot. Could you imagine those 3 ball hogs trying?
We talked about that, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Speaking of the Nets, I can't say the F word.
We're trying to get away from it.
F you, Kyrie.
Kyrie.
As a professional sports broadcaster and a media member, screw you for calling me a pawn. Screw you for calling all media members a pawn. Play basketball. I don't like using the shut up and dribble thing because it is messed up and they're professional athletes and they deserve their voice. But you need to chill, bro, because you haven't been shit since you won the title in 2016 and left the Cavs.
So we were talking about that. I was going to bring that up too, but we were talking about his terrible tattoos, his terrible basic white girl tattoos. I remembered this. Last night, he has the Friends logo tattooed on him right here. The Friends logo, bro. Any normal person likes Seinfeld. Friends was the trash show of the 90s. It was always Seinfeld. Boom, boom, boom. I couldn't do it. I really wish that would have happened. But
I'm just done with him, man. And he's getting to the point where he's almost Antonio Brown-esque when it comes to just not wanting the headache, right? Antonio Brown has a job right now because of Tom Brady. But if it wasn't because of Tom Brady, Antonio Brown is too much of a headache for the talent. The thing is Antonio Brown, when he was on the field with the Steelers, one of the best wide receivers in all of football, possibly of all time.
And that perfect hit.
Yeah,
Scrambled him.
And then his head went haywire. The thing, is your head haywire? Is that what happened? Do you have early onset CTE or something?
I don't think it's early onset. I think it's probably
full blown. But no joking about CTE. But
that's not a
come on,
and
dude, you gotta.
We just lost our camera.
But I mean, we got one thing to go.
Yeah, we got one thing to go.
Right.
It'll be fine. And we have to wrap it up really quickly.
I was going to say we got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. This day in sports history, December 16th, 1972, the Miami Dolphins become the only ever undefeated team in NFL history at 14-0.
Wait. I thought the Steelers were 13-0.
Oh, dude, you didn't hear?
I didn't.
You didn't hear, dude? The football team beat them. They circled their wagons. The Buffalo Bills circled their wagons, man.
How about being the only undefeated team to lose to a team without a name?
There you go. There's some sports history. There's some this day in sports history. And then on December 16th, 1973, the next year after that, my man, my uncle, O.J. the Juice Man Simpson becomes the first ever running back in NFL history to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. That's O.J., one of the top 5 greatest running backs in NFL history. The NFL can't even deny it. They put a video of O.J. running in their commercials. He comes right after LT, and then they have Saquon, and then it's O.J., but they just take the buffalo off the side of his helmet. So it's just O.J. running.
Well, I mean, In 73, he came the first running back ever to do it. There's still only a handful of running backs that have ever done it. Who is it? You've got OJ, then you've got Dickerson, then you've got Johnson, Chris Johnson, then you've got LT and Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
That's it.
And OJ was the first.
Despite anything anybody else thinks of him, we obviously love the guy. Despite whatever you think about his other transgressions, he's in the Hall of Fame still for a reason. You're telling me that everything he went through, the prison stint, all of that, and he's still in the Hall of Fame. But Pete Rose bet on a Major League Baseball game and isn't in the Hall of Fame.
He bet for his own team.
For his own team. So tell me how great OJ was. Is what I'm. By all means, Pete Rose is one of the best to ever do it. But if the NFL is going to be like, well, we're still going to put his bust in the Hall of Fame, he's still going to be considered a Hall of Famer.
He was in the Hall of Fame before '94.
I get it, and they could have took it away.
Yeah, but you can't do that to the Juice.
You can't do it to the Juice. Is my point.
If they would have done that to the Juice, he would have ran up into Canton the way he ran up into that hotel room in Vegas because the guy had his Heisman.
Yeah, he's like, man, I'm getting my bus.
He's got his Heisman, dude. Like, I'll take my bus. I'll take my Heisman.
Good episode today, Howie.
Howie loved it.
I think they're going to like it, too.
All right, well, of course, 2 minutes left in the podcast. We run out of battery on our camera, whatever. We will have a nice picture of us to put up.
Yeah, Howie will be featured.
So that is it. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at ETH Simpson CGOD. You can follow me on Instagram at ETH Simpson. You can follow Brendan at...
Follow me on Twitter at BWardCLE. Follow me on Instagram at B.Ward52. Do not forget to follow the podcast on all platforms, on Twitter at PodcastGiven, on Instagram at AnyGivenPodcast, Facebook.com/AnyGivenPodcast. Give us a like. And please do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube. We're getting the views, just not the subscribers.
One last thing before I sign off. Numbers don't lie. The B is a 6. You can figure that out yourself. Shirts are coming sometime next week. We are excited. I believe they will be $20 a pop. Very, very high quality made t-shirts too. And the profits go towards helping your experience listening and watching any given podcast. So we appreciate that, everybody. And one last thing, God bless and stay blessed.
Just like Baker, we're only going up from you.